Hi there friends, and welcome back to our summer camp sessions. Today we are going to be making some friendship bracelets. So there are tons of videos online of how to make various friendship bracelets, but I just wanted to show you a couple of the methods that I know how to make. It's just something that I have done occasionally as a student or a camper, also something I've just done in my free time. So I wanted to share a few methods with you. This is a really simple project because you only need a very few amount of material. So the first thing you're going to need, of course, is some string. I just have some different colored threads here and some scissors as well. Really, this is the bare minimum of what you will need. There's a couple different ways that you can secure down your thread. One of the easiest ways is just to secure it to something that is in your environment. That's why I'm here at my bed today, because I could attach my bracelet base to this and then pull the bracelet off of that. Another really easy method is to use a clipboard. You'll just clip your bracelet to the top, and I'll show you guys that. Or a final method is you could just use any flat surface and use some tape to attach the base of your bracelet. Okay, so I don't have exact methods to do this. Like I said, this is something that I've just kind of done on my own in my free time. But whatever you decide to do, you want to make sure that you have even amounts, at least for these lessons, because I think that's how it goes. Even amounts of your string. I'm gonna pull about 2 feet of my blue. I pick one final color. Let's do this kind of raspberry color. And I'll line that up with the end of my strings there, pull them nice and tight and smooth, and then cut at the base. So if you wanted to have 6 different colors, that's fine. You might just want to cut maybe 1.5 feet or so of string instead, but because I'm going to use these 3 colors repeatedly, so I'll have 2 sets of the same 3 colors, I don't need to cut any more string. So I'm going to set these off to the side. I might end up needing my scissors again at some point. And let me just show you how I'm going to attach. So if I was going to work from my bedpost here, I could simply wrap my 3 pieces of string around with my loop here on the back. I could secure a knot and then begin making my bracelet. But because I may want to move around a little bit, this is especially a thing I like to do whenever I'm traveling. If you are in a car or a plane, this makes a really easy project that you can do right in front of you. So since I'm going to be attaching on something movable, I'm going to go ahead and make my loop at the top. So I'm going to take the top of my string with a loop and then make sure the little phrase at the end line up, and I'm just going to tie a knot up here where my loop is. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a little knot on itself. I ultimately usually end up cutting these, but if you are making a keychain or just some kind of decoration, this is a really nice loop to just have at the top that you can ultimately end up hanging your bracelet from. So I'm going to take this loop, and you could attach this to your board in a few different ways. You could use some tape. I only have electrical tape here. I find that duct tape usually works the very best, but you would just pull off a piece of tape, that, put it at the very top of your knot, and then that'll kind of hold it in place as you begin to construct your friendship bracelet. Because I have it here and it seems to be sturdy enough for the moment, I'm gonna leave it, but if ever this pops up, I can simply take my knot and hook it up under my clipboard. So I'm gonna go ahead and begin my first method, and I don't know what this is called exactly, but this is what I have decided is going to be known as the spiral method. I wanted to move you just a little bit closer so you can see the knots of what I'm making. Alright, so in order to start this spiral one, you're simply going to make a knot that is constructed from the blue string. You're going to use the blue string to make a knot around all of the other strings that you have left here. The easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is just to make a 4. So I'm going to stick my thumb out, hold the rest of my string in my hand, stick my thumb out, wrap the whatever color you're working with around your thumb to make kind of like the number 4, and then you're going to tuck your string into that triangle and then pull. And you're going to do this over and over and over again, and you'll pull up nice and tight every time, and you'll continue this for as long as you want the blue to be the chunk that you're working with. Whenever you decide to change colors, you will simply tuck the blue into the other stack and pull out a new thread and keep going. So I'm going to do this for a moment until I've decided I'm okay with the blue section that I've created, and then we will move on. So I'm ready to change colors now. You can see that it has gotten a lot shorter because it's the only string that I have been working with so far. So I'm just going to tuck that back into all of the other colors. I'm going to pull out the next color I want to use, which is my lime green kind of color. And then you're going to do the exact same thing. So you'll pull your triangle with your thumb, you'll tuck your string into that triangle and pull nice and tight. And then you guys know the drill. Okay, so I'm happy with that chunk there. It's a little bit shorter than my blue, but that's okay. So I'm going to pull my green back into the chunk. I'll pull out one of these kind of watermelon colored ones. And then same process. I will make my 4, tuck my string, and pull. Okay, now whenever you go to change colors again, if you're going to go back to a color that you've already used, make sure that you choose the other strand. If you've done 6 different colors here, then you don't have to worry about this as much. But if you used 3 colors and then doubled them up like I have, you want to make sure when you go back to the first color or the second color, one that you've already used, you want to make sure that you go to the longer strand. So I'm not going to pick this short blue, I'm going to go to this longer blue because it has not shrunk in my bracelet making process yet. I haven't used it, so it's a fresh string. So I'm going to pull that out, make my 4, and make my knots. Starting to run out of this lime, so I'm just going to call that quits. I'll pull it off of its base. And there we go. Same way I made a knot up here at the top, I'm going to pull a knot down here at the bottom, nice and tight. This one's going to be really simple for you if you know how to braid, because that's all we're going to do. This is going to be the braided method. I am going to pull off a little bit more of the string than I had last time. I am going to measure these out, make sure they are the same length. These are also our secondary colors, a little bit more neon than you would traditionally see, but green, orange, and violet secondary colors. So I've looped it once, but then I'm going to loop it once more so that I have 4 strands in total. So I'm going to, the same way I did last time, I'm going to take this loop at the top, I'm going to make a knot, and then pull it nice and tight. I'm going to pop my knot up here under my clip. And then you need to do some organizing. I need to do some separating. I'm not just going to braid willy-nilly. I really want my colors to be separated. So I should have 4 strands of each color. And I'll try to lay them as neatly as I possibly can. So I have my colors laid out. I have 4 strands of each color. You, of course, could just do 1. I just wanted to make this bracelet a little thicker, so I used more of the strings, so 4 of each. And this is going to be a really good lesson for those of you that do not have any experience with braiding, but if you do, then you can just go for it. It helps me to kind of hold them all in my hands. So I'm going to hold my 3 strands like this. Whichever way it's easiest for you, you can hold them in your hands, but I like to have all 3 strands kind of at my grasp. And what you're going to do is you're just going to cross, I like to start from left to right. You're going to take your left piece and you're going to cross it over your middle piece. Then you're going to take your right piece and you're going to cross that over your middle piece. And so it's just a pattern of doing that. You're keeping track of what your middle is and just going left over and then right over, pulling nice and tight as you're doing this. Okay, and there we go. This one I pretty easily got away with making, I think what I might be able to even make an anklet perhaps. I'm just gonna do one knot in case I decide I want to remove this later. And I think I'm actually gonna leave these little hanging bits as a little tiny bit of decoration. So there we go, anklet. With this one, you can have as many sets of colors as you want, but again, it needs to be an even number. So I could just do 3 and use 6 strings. I'm going to use 4 colors doubled up, which will give me 8 strands. So this is going to end up being a pretty thick bracelet, and you'll see that at the end. I want to pull off maybe like 2.5 feet. We are going to pull our ends together so that they line up. And then I'm going to tape my finger all the way back up to the top so we have this loop. So I have a loop on one end, my phrase at the other. Where our loop is, we are going to make a knot. Place my knot in there, and then kind of like we had to do with the braided piece, we have to do some organizing. So you're going to have one color on the outside. So let's say I'm picking red, so my red will be my first outside color, and then I'll have my orange. Then let's do maybe my green, and then finally I'll have my blues in the center. Now this one I think is the most intricate and the most beautiful at the end, but because of that, it's also the most difficult. So you're going to take your first outside color. Mine, of course, in this situation is red. So I'm going to take my red. I'm going to take whatever color is next to that. So line number 1 with line number 2, and you're going to tie a knot around line number 2 by using color number 1. So I'm doing the same 4 method that I did at the very start. So I'll stick my thumb out, make my 4, and then pull that around my orange string. Then if I lay these down, my orange has become my outside. So I'm bringing my red all the way into the interior. So now I'm going to leave my orange be. I'm going to pick up my red, pick up my string number 3, make a knot with my red over my green. Now my red has become my string number 3. I'm going to take my final string on this side, make my knot around it, and pull up. So something like that. So now my red string has moved to the inside, and that's what's going to keep happening with this entire pattern. I'm going to do the same thing on my right side. I'm going to stick out a finger, make that line, and then loop my string up through there, just like I have on the other side. I'll take my string, make my red knot, and pull it all the way up. Final string, make my backwards 4, pull my string through that triangle and up. Now when you get to the center, you want to just take your 2 center colors and make one last knot. And there you go. You have done 1 pass. So that looks like we've done basically nothing, but that is 1 layer of your friendship bracelet. So you're going to do the same process starting from the outside and moving into both sides. So I'm going to start with orange now. Orange is my string number 1. So I'm going to take my green, make that number 4, pull my knot, number 4, pull my knot, so really you're just trying to move the outside color into the inside. Okay, moving on down. And then my final pass for this one. Pull. The pulling at the end is extremely important. You want to make sure all those knots you are making are nice and tight. And then of course one final knot at the end. it doesn't really matter the direction of the 4 because you're just tying an orange on an orange. Now I just want to show you guys. So if you can see that there's these tiny little V's that are happening. So we did our red first, so you can see our red V. We did our orange second, so we made our orange V, and that's the design that we're making for this bracelet. We're just going to keep doing V. So next V will be this green color, and that will pass through all of those colors and go down like that. So this one is by far the most time consuming, but it is very, very beautiful at the end. So now I'm going to move on to my green, and I'm just going to keep on going. So there's our first pass. Now I could keep going for a long distance. You can see I have a lot of string left over, but this one is a very time consuming activity. This has taken me about, let's see, how long have I been recording? About 20 minutes to do maybe an inch of bracelet. So this one you do need to dedicate some more time to, but it can turn out pretty beautiful in the long run. Thank you for joining me. I will catch you guys next time. Until then, stay creative, stay safe. I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.